Adrian, and welcome back to Dessert Devotion. I can't wait to share with you an easy dessert recipe and a short devotional. Our featured recipe today is a peanut butter chocolate chip cookie. It is lower in sugar, but you will be surprised at how amazing it tastes. Okay guys, I'm just gonna throw everything into one bowl. It's 1 cup peanut butter, half a cup of Swerve, the granulated sugar alternative, and then 1/4 cup of the Truvia brown sugar, which is half brown sugar and half brown sugar alternative. To that, I'm adding 1 beaten egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. And then it's that easy. I'm just going to mix it all together until it's well blended in my bowl. Now we're ready to add our chocolate chips. This is a little more than half a cup. You can choose sugar-free chocolate chips, or you can choose semi-sweet chocolate chips, just depending on how strict you want to be about adding sugar to this recipe. But what we have now is low in sugar and gluten-free. Now I'm just going to scoop it onto my cookie sheet. I'm using a really small ice cream scooper, or you can use a cookie scooper. Sometimes I just use a nice tablespoon. And after I place them on the cookie sheet, I like to go back and kind of press them down with my hands, just so that they cook evenly in the oven. We're going to bake these on 325 for 8 to 10 minutes. Now that our cookies are in the oven, let's settle in for our devotional. I know that you have asked at least once this week, where is God? Maybe even today you have whispered, where are you, God? Maybe you're waiting for God to show up in a particular dilemma that you're in. You're waiting for God to show up to answer prayer. You're waiting for God to show up to help you get out of a mess that you found yourself in. You're waiting for God to show up in your diagnosis. You're waiting for God to show up in your healing, and you're wondering, God, where are you? Do you hear my prayers? Even as believers, we sometimes ask ourselves, are you out there? Do you even exist? Paul says in the first chapter of Romans, in the 20th verse, that we can know that God is near. If nothing else, we know God by God's creation. In the 20th verse, it reads, ever since the creation of the world, his eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been understood and seen through the things he has made. In other words, it may be hard for you and I to see where God is working in particular places where we're thinking, God, you have to show up here. You must show up here. I need your help. And we watch those things and we wait for God to work, and we don't see where God is showing up quite yet, or how God is bringing that about. But just because we don't see God working right here, it does not mean that God is nowhere. If anything, if we need some reassurance, some renewal in our faith that God is near, all we have to do is go out into God's creation, go out into nature, the handiwork of God. For Paul writes that even though God is invisible, we can see God and understand God by experiencing God's creation. So if you need a little inspiration and encouragement that while God is not here yet, God is near, then go outside. What I think you need is some time in God's outdoor sanctuary. Experience the beautiful work of God's hands and know that God is still here, God is real, and God is very near. Now, many of you guys know that I love to run, I love to walk, I love to ride my bike and enjoy the outdoors. And I can tell you that every time I step foot outdoors, God never fails to meet me there in God's nature and creation. So for the sake of the renewal of your faith, and for the renewal of mine. I'll see you outdoors. When you pull these out of the oven, they may look a little undone. They need to continue cooking on the cookie sheet. You gotta be patient and let them cool completely for about 8 to 10 minutes so that the cookies set up. But let me tell you, it is worth the wait. Isn't it fun to discover new things, whether you're in the kitchen or hanging outdoors? Thanks for joining me. For more dessert devotion, be sure to follow my Facebook page or subscribe to my YouTube channel.